All right, welcome back to the program. You're still watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Let's switch gears now and talk about the developments in the oil and gas sector, where tensions have now eased after the strike by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, PENGASSN, has been called off, or is in the process of being called off. The face-off with the Dangote refinery over staff layoffs disrupted operations until the federal government brokered the now signed peace deal. Now that the strike has been suspended and workers are being recalled by the Dangote refinery, what lies ahead for a sector that remains critical to Nigeria's economic stability? Can management and unions find a common ground for the greater good of Nigeria and Nigerians? We'll be speaking shortly with the former senior oil worker, Engineer Kailani Mohammed, who will be providing us with some Professor Engineer Kailani Mohammed.
Professorship for doctorate degrees.
Right. Yeah. As always, I keep forgetting all the list.
Because I've not tutored you yet.
Yes.
So
exactly. But it's a pleasure to see you again. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Good to see you this evening.
Yeah.
First of all, your 2 cents. Nigeria has been on edge over the past couple of days, not knowing which way this face-off is going to go. But the prospect or the possibility of a shutdown to the Nigerian economy because of what PENGASSN and PEN were threatening to do was quite obvious. Give me your 2 cents about if this is over now with this deal that all the parties have signed.
Well, Nigerians, can I say
happy independence, exactly.
At 65 years, we're supposed to be a grandfather. But we still have a long way to go. Because those good old days, before I come to the oil sector issue, let's take the history of Nigeria first. I schooled free. During Sadona, the great Zik of Africa, and the Awolowo's of those good times. They did their best after they fought for the independence of this country. And when they took the mantle of leadership, they did their best to make sure that we are united. Despite all the ambiguities in the process of the elections that were held at different points in time in our history. But today, those that took over power, I'm not saying all, about 80% of them that were taken to England, some to America, Europe generally, they failed the examination. I'm talking of that of the North. So then I would say, take them to England, since they have failed. They went there, and what they came back with is corruption. They didn't follow the footsteps of our first grandfathers. And that's why we are in this quagmire today. 65 years is enough for Nigeria to have its economy revitalized. Security supposed to be there for everybody. 3 square meal. An average Nigerians supposed to eat 3 square meal. His children should be able to go to school free of charge. We brought this government in, that can I say from 2015.
You're talking about the APC administration,
yes,
the APC governments?
APC government. But if we talk about the military, from Obasanjo's era, to Babangida, to President Muhammadu Buhari, to Eradua, to Jonathan, I think what I would say is that in 1960, when we took independence, the number of police, the good side of it is that the number of police, the number of army, the number of hospitals, the number of schools that we had then were very, very, very little, very minute. Today, I think we have grown. The number of roads that we have, they are now more. We have more schools, more doctors, more engineers. But truly speaking, corruption is killing this country because they steal with impunity. People take our money. At the end of the day, when they are investigated, you see them walking freely on our streets. I was surprised. There is one video trending, just of recent, that our own government, Buhari's government of blessed memory, that the cronies, some of them $50 billion. Did you see the video?
I'm not sure what video you're referring to. What video is that?
Well, maybe after the program, I'll show you the video. Somebody made an analysis of Buhari's government and those surrogates, those that are very close to him, the money that all of them made. Like, for example, they say in Adamawa, one of them is number 1 now, another one is number 2. Maybe in the nearest future I'll mention their names, but it's there that they are having more than 50 billion. Then, if you come to the issue of real corruption, when we are busy saying change mantra for those good 16 years. You know, the other time I told you I went to prison several times, and some of people were maimed and killed. They destroyed houses for Buhari because we took a cursory look at the North itself. Our leaders, who was the best then, who was fair enough, honest enough to come and take the mantle of leadership and lead us. It was Buhari. But after fighting vigorously for 16 years, he took over in 2015. As I said before, now is history. I want the government. We heard they are collecting back money from those people who spent 8 years stealing money in his government. But we have not seen it yet. We wondered if they have not started that.
You're saying there is an under-the-table arrangement for people to return stolen money so they don't get prosecuted.
In Nigeria, they are doing free bargaining. You go, when you steal 20 billion, maybe if you return 10, that's what I heard, what the government is doing now. They will collect 10 or maybe 15, you go away with 5. They have been doing that in America. Maybe that's they are copycat. That's what they are doing.
You think there's a lot of plea bargaining under the current
administration? That's what we had. That's what is going on. Not only on Buhari's government, even the previous governments. Corruption is the bane of this country. Nigeria is supposed to be the richest country on earth. We don't need to have any poor individual in Nigeria. If our resources are managed properly, free education, everything. So I'm calling on this government to rethink. I saw the milestone. The papers today were washed by our president's anniversary message presentation. And
what did you think? What did you think of it? What the president?
Well, he mentioned about some milestones, about education, about buying equipment for the military, about the roads infrastructure, and about education, about insecurity and the rest of it. But we are not there. The reforms are not working. We brought this.
The president says they are working.
We brought this government, and we want the government to succeed. We must tell them the bitter truth. People down there are not happy. Abject poverty in this country has reached certain level that, okay, look at the low turnout today, in the whole country today. Low turnout. It wasn't like that when we are
I mean, there were no celebrations, to be fair.
Well, we need to celebrate. At 65. What the journey...
Is there something to celebrate in your view?
That's why we had today low turnout from the states. And even as we saw, the celebration is supposed to be done at Eagle Square. It wasn't everything, they say, it's always done inside the villa. So what I'm saying, we want our government to succeed in 2027. But the way we are moving, we are drifting. We are drailing. They are not telling the president the truth. And he kept telling us he has been giving trillions to the governors. These monies, we don't see them. The masses are complaining. So because of the removal of that subsidy and the devaluation of our naira. So all we need to do today, let him concentrate. All these monies is given out, trader money, it doesn't reach anybody. But we suggested, give money to market women. They have association. We have student association. We have support groups. We have farmers association. All this, reach them directly so that this money would trickle down to the masses. He is thinking that these governors will help him in 2027. He's daydreaming because Nigerians are now aware of their rights, and they want to take their destinies in their hands in 2027.
You don't think the governors the ones who have publicly said they would work for the president, you think they're lying to him?
They are sitting on the fence. They are sitting on the fence. You should be very, very careful with them. And what I'm saying, let me come specifically about the government just opposing tangentially the pros and cons, the problems we have, handing over all our problems to IMF, it will not help us. Because all the countries IMF borrowed money to, they became bankrupted. And our government seems to be borrowing a lot of money from IMF and the World Bank. And they dictate what any country that takes loans, they dictate to them. This is what you have to do, is what. At the end of the day, by the time you bring in reforms, look at all these taxes. Nigerians are not happy. You pay through your nose, you pay for light, you pay electronic taxes. They are now introducing another one for the aircraft. Very soon the tickets will be high. Look at the tariff on NEPA. Everything now is tax. So, how can we that brought the government, at times when people see us along the road, they start abusing us. We kept telling them we still have 17 months to go. And our president, we believe, should be a listening president. Re-strategizing matters a lot. Let him focus more on food production, flush out all these bandits on our farms so that farmers can, comfortably go to farms, farm for us the food that we can eat in this country and export, which was done in the 60s. When you do that, an average citizen will get food on his table. He won't mind. Then the devaluation of our naira.
I mean, they call it floating of the naira. And the president has reiterated, even in today's message, that the naira is stable. And it is appreciated somewhat marginally, but also an appreciation that gives some people confidence that we are heading in the right direction.
The money, I learned the CBN governor the other time, I think they injected how many? About 400 billion, is it dollars they say, or $4 billion into the economy. So, it's stabilizing the naira. When that money elapses or finishes, we'll go back to square one. The only
you think they're propping up the naira?
That is it. So all we need to do, any economy that you want it to be strong, the GDP to grow, all you need to do is to make sure you farm, agriculture, and you bring in industries. All the dead industries must be resuscitated. Once you do that, our teeming youths will get jobs. We have about over 120 million youths who don't have jobs today in Nigeria. And that's why you see a lot of bandits everywhere, because an idle mind is a devil's workshop. We need to create job opportunities for our youths. Create more companies, more industry. The ones that are dead should be brought up. And then agriculture. By the time you do that, the GDP will pick up. We will now start exporting. When you export, you earn foreign exchange into your country. But by injecting money into the forex for maybe 1, 2, 3 months to stabilize the naira is not solving you the problem.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I want all these thieves in our society, because they are strangling us in this country. We cannot continue like this. I heard yesterday, or there's a trending video now that in Abia State, the former governor of Abia State, Governor Ikpeazu, they traced 1 trillion into his account, if it is true, in Australia. And there was a court that adjudged that he should be hanged. He's sentenced to be hanged. If that is correct, we are borrowing a leaf from China. That will serve
you don't think that that's going to happen, do you?
It will serve as a deterrent. I know they will appeal. Once he appeals, we'll go to court appeal, we'll go to the Supreme Court. We want the image of the judiciary to be revamped. We rely solely on the judiciary in this country.
Okay.
Once that is done, and what is bothering me is, we have 3 independent, in a democratic setup, institutions. One, the judiciary, the other one, the National Assembly, the other one, the presidency. But it seems they are not working effectively.
Right. Okay. I'm afraid I might have to interject, Prof, and I need your response in less than a minute, because we've completely run out of time.
We are not. If you are calling me here, you give me at least 1 hour or 2.
Unfortunately, for this particular conversation, maybe we're going to have to, double down some other time. But I need your response on the Dangote Pengassin situation as someone who understands the inner workings of the industry. Should Nigerians be worried about future fallouts between Dangote and the unions?
Excuse me, sir. Nigerians with Dangote at the helm of affairs will continue to see this problem uncountable. Because if you could remember last 2 years, I was always telling Nigerians that Dangote loves monopoly. You came in with your refinery, you said there should be no importation. Dapman, Hipman, and I'm happy because that time, Dupeng and Pengassin, when we are telling them that Dangote will take the energy security in this country, it is there now. You have a refinery. You're not the only person who have refinery, but their own is not pronounced. We have people who have refinery in this country. Why should you be monopolizing? We are giving you crude in naira. Why should the price of petrol up to today, the Nigerians don't know, should be 800 and something? It should be less than 500, because we sell this crude to you in naira, not in dollar. That's number one. And nobody will antagonize Dangote. If you have your fuel, come and sell it. I learned he ordered about 4,000 trucks now. You want Hipman to be out of the market, that man should be, those depot orders should be out of the market. And what I'm saying is, our refineries can work for 400 years. It's now done in India and Asian countries.
Right.
So all we need to do, our refineries are just 40-something years. We were doing it before. 40 days turnaround maintenance, 3 days blackout, and we start for another 2 years.
Right.
The only thing we need, honesty, sincerity, And we must put Nigeria first. Once we can, change the equipment that are bad, replace them, they will work. But we need people who are sincere and who have Nigeria at heart.
Right.
Now, finally, this management of NNPC must sit up, because I learned they are still saying they are studying the system. Studying system for how many months now? Or can you say getting to 1 year or more? That's why I say give me more time, because I supposed to have explained to Nigerians that.
Right. Eventually we're going to have to make time for this one.
Can you give me 1 minute again?
Unfortunately we don't. But just one or two statements.
Well, we learned the production has dropped to 1.4 million barrels per day, while half of those crude are stolen. How much do we have left? And the target the president gave the management is 3 million barrels in 2027, 201 trillion cubic feet of gas in 2030.
Right.
So we need to rejig. And they say they need $25 billion to revitalize the system, so that investors will come in, because currently we have investors' apathy.
Yeah, okay. On that particular note, I think we'd have to make another separate arrangement for a clear conversation about what's happening in the up and downstream sector, so that you can have enough time, ample time, to break it down for Nigerians who need to understand what is actually playing out, the politics of the conversation and everything in between. But for now, we're going to have to anchor the conversation.
You didn't tell me what message I have for Nigeria. The message is we should be united.
Unfortunately.
We need unity in diversity. We must come together despite our differences to grow Nigeria for the betterment of our future generations.
Professor Dr. Engineer Mohammed Kailani, thank you so much for joining us on Daily Politics.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
I appreciate you very much for taking the time. Thank you so much for stopping by. That's our show for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Daily Politics will be back tomorrow live on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. For myself and the team, thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.